You ever have a woman point a loaded Colt at your back while you're trying not to get your head blown off? I have. And the crazy part? I'd handed her that gun myself not 2 hours before. We were pinned down in my own damn house, bullets tearing through the walls, 5 men outside wanting me dead or broke, and her, Rose Campbell, the woman I hadn't touched in 15 years, she was crouched beside me, calm as Sunday morning, asking where I kept the extra ammunition. That's when I knew. Either we were both going to die that night, or I'd just found the only person in this godforsaken territory worth living for. But I'm getting ahead of myself. You want to know how a man ends up in that kind of situation? How a dried-up spinster and a stubborn rancher become something that scares the hell out of men with money and guns. Pour yourself a drink, friend. This one's going to take a while. And if you like stories about second chances and the kind of love that'll get you killed, hit that like button. You're going to want to remember this one. The afternoon sun was murder on my shoulders when I saw her coming. Single rider, straight-backed, sitting that horse like she'd been born to it. I knew that silhouette before I could make out her face. Rose Campbell, the woman who'd haunted every sunset for half my life. In a territory like this, when a woman shows up alone at a man's door, people talk. And when that woman is someone you used to court behind her father's back 15 years ago, when she's the one the whole town whispers about, the spinster nobody wanted. That's not just talk. That's a declaration of war against respectability. I stood in my doorway with my Winchester loose in one hand, watching her dismount at my gate. No hesitation. Her dark riding skirt was dusty from the road, white blouse clinging to her in the heat. Those blue eyes met mine across 20 feet of dry earth, and for the first time in 15 years, neither of us looked away. I heard you're in a bind, Rose called from the gate, her voice low but firm, like she was daring the wind to carry it away. Her eyes locked on mine, sharp as a hawk's, and I swear I caught a flicker of the old fire in them. My jaw tightened. I didn't need help, didn't need anyone. But Tom Brennan and his cronies had made sure the whole town knew about my situation. Ranch too big for one man, no wife, no future. They'd arranged this somehow, pushed her toward me like a chess piece. Tom Brennan's been flapping his gums in town saying you're hiring, Rose said, stepping closer to my porch, her boots kicking up dust. Housekeeper, cook, $15 a month, room and board. Heard it from young Danny Morrison, who overheard it at the saloon. Kids got ears sharper than a coyote's. I leaned against the doorframe. Brennan's a liar. I know. She stopped at the bottom of my steps. He's also a bastard who thinks he can manipulate people like cattle, but the job offer was public. Half the town heard it. If you turn me away now, it looks like you're the one with something to hide. Smart. She'd always been smart. Why? The word came out rough. Why would you agree to work for me? I'm done standing off in the shadows, watching you live your life, she said, her voice catching just a bit. Your pa's gone 2 years now. Mine last summer. Ain't it time we quit letting their ghosts tell us who we ought to be? She paused. And because Tom Brennan wants something from you. I don't know what yet. But whatever it is, you'll need someone you can trust when he comes to take it. I studied her face, looking for deception. Found only that same fierce determination I remembered from when we'd stolen moments behind the church, when she'd kissed me like the world might end tomorrow. Room's off the kitchen, I said finally, stepping aside. Don't expect much. The smile that crossed her lips was small, but genuine. I never did. As she moved past me into the house, I caught the scent of lavender soap. Same soap from 15 years ago. My chest constricted. She surveyed the main room, trailing her fingers along the back of my wooden chair. Your father's furniture, but you moved the table to catch the morning light. I froze. How do you know that? She turned to face me, no shame in her eyes. For 5 years, I've walked past this ranch every week, heading to the Miller place. Windows face the road so I could see inside. Widow Morrison used to catch me staring. Said she'd seen that look in my eyes before, back when we thought we could outrun the world together. She paused. I know you take your coffee black in the morning. I know you rebuilt the back porch 3 years ago. I know you've never brought a woman here. You ever have someone confess they've been observing your life like it was a book they couldn't put down? It should have felt intrusive. Instead, it felt like coming home to find someone had kept the lamp burning for you all these years. That's a lot of watching, I said carefully. Yes. She didn't apologize. It is. I moved to the kitchen, needing distance. The town thinks this is charity. Me taking in the spinster nobody wanted. Let them think it. Rose examined my sparse supplies. I have my own money. I sold my father's house, his store, everything. I'm not here because I'm desperate. I'm here because I choose to be. Brennan's up to something, I said. He and Morrison and the others. They've been pushing me to sell land to the railroad. 50 acres through the valley. Right of way for the Western Line. They're invested in it somehow. Stand to make money if the deal goes through. And if it doesn't, they lose everything. Understanding dawned in her eyes. So they need you desperate enough to sell. And they think a woman would be expensive. A burden. Rose closed the distance between us and withdrew a small leather pouch from her skirt pocket. She pressed it into my palm, her hand warm over mine. $300. Everything I have. I want to buy into this ranch. A real partnership. Not charity, not employment. Equality. Her offer hit me like a sack of grain to the chest, heavy with everything it meant. Her trust, her money, her whole damn life laid bare. But then, hell, it was like the weight shifted, and something in me stirred, like a horse catching the scent of open country after years in a stall. Rose, I know what I'm asking. I know it's fast and strange and probably reckless. But I also know that Tom Brennan is going to come at you with everything he has. And when he does, you'll need someone willing to fight beside you. 15 years ago, her father had separated us with lies. Now she was standing here offering me everything she had. Partners, I said slowly. Equal shares. Your name on the deed. Her breath caught. You mean it? I mean it. But Rose, this isn't going to be easy. Brennan won't let this go. There's going to be trouble. Fine by me. Her smile was sharp, like she'd just drawn a blade. 15 years I sat back, watching you from afar, telling myself I didn't give a damn. I'm through with that coward's way out. The sun was setting through the western windows, painting her skin gold. I realized with sudden clarity that I'd never stopped wanting her. We should draw up the papers, I managed. Make it legal. Tomorrow. Rose's hand slid up my arm. Tonight, I'd like to know if we're really doing this. If we're really going to stand together. Then prove it. She rose up on her toes, her mouth inches from mine. Kiss me like you used to. Like you still want to. You want to know what it's like to kiss someone after 15 years of wanting? My control snapped completely. I cupped her face in my hands and claimed her mouth with 15 years of hunger behind it. She tasted like hope and heat and home, and when she gasped against my lips, I pulled her closer. Her hands fisted in my shirt, tugging me down. I lifted her against me. She wrapped her legs around my waist, and I carried her toward my bedroom without breaking the kiss. My hands fumbled with the buttons of her blouse, stiff from the road's dust, until it slipped off her shoulders, showing skin bronzed by years of hard sun. I pressed my lips to the warm curve of her neck, catching the faint salt of her sweat and that damn lavender soap she always used. She let out a shaky breath, half a moan, and it hit me like a slug of whiskey, burning straight through. Her skirt followed. She stood before me in nothing but white cotton, her body backlit by the dying sun. Leaner than I'd imagined, stronger, marked by years of work and survival. "Beautiful," I said hoarsely. She reached for the hem of her chemise. A gunshot cracked through the evening air. We both froze. Another shot rang out, closer, followed by the thunder of hooves. "Get dressed," I ordered. "Stay in here." "Like hell." Rose grabbed her blouse, already following me. I reached the window in time to see 5 riders surrounding my property, torches in hand. Tom Brennan sat his horse at the front, his face twisted with rage. I grabbed my Winchester, checking the chamber. Fully loaded. Maybe 20 rounds total in the house. Rose appeared at my shoulder, fully dressed now. "What do they want?" "Me desperate. Me broken. Me willing to sell at any price." "Then we don't give them what they want." Another shot splintered the doorframe. I returned fire, deliberately high. "That's close enough, Brennan." "You think you're clever?" Brennan's voice carried across the yard. "Taking up with that dried-up spinster thinking her money will save you. The railroad gave us an ultimatum. Either we deliver your land by the end of the month, or they take the Jameson route instead, and we're not going to let some stubborn bastard and his whore stand in the way." The word whore had barely left his mouth when I fired. The shot took Brennan's hat clean off. "Next one's not a warning. Get off my land." Instead of retreating, the other men opened fire. Glass shattered, wood splintered. I hauled Rose to the floor as bullets tore through my home. We crawled toward the back bedroom. I shoved furniture against the door while Rose checked the back window. "There's 2 more coming around the rear. They're going to try to box us in." I handed her my Colt revolver. "You know how to use this?" "My father taught me." She checked the chamber with practiced efficiency. 6 shots. Make them count. The siege lasted through the night. We took turns at the windows, conserving ammunition, firing only when the riders got too close. Twice men tried to rush the house. Twice I dropped them with precise shots. Wounded, not dead, but out of the fight. You ever wonder what it's like to defend your home with someone you love? It's trust. It's knowing someone will cover your blind spot. It's the way she handed me bullets without me asking. In the darkest hours before dawn, huddled behind the overturned table, Rose gripped my hand. "My father lied. He told you I didn't want to see you. He told me you'd only been courting me out of pity. I've known the truth for years and waited for a chance to fight for us." Then Tom Brennan handed me the perfect excuse to stop waiting. Understanding crashed over me. "You knew they'd try to use you against me?" I suspected, and I thought, if they're going to use me as a weapon anyway, why not turn that weapon on them instead? Why not become your strength instead of your weakness? Before I could respond, a new sound cut through the night. More horses, but different. Organized, official. "This is Sheriff Wade, Tom Brennan. You and your men are under arrest. Drop your weapons." The siege ended swiftly. Brennan and his men, caught between my rifle and the sheriff's deputies, surrendered. As dawn broke, we emerged to find 5 men in custody and a young rider, Danny Morrison, sitting his exhausted horse beside the sheriff. "Danny rode through the night to fetch us," Sheriff Wade explained. "Said there was going to be trouble." "Why?" I asked. Danny, a wiry kid with a mop of dust-caked hair, shifted in his saddle, his horse blowing hard from the long ride. He met Rose's eyes, a shy grin tugging at his mouth. "Ma always said you got dealt a bad hand, Miss Campbell. Said it was plain as day. This fella here was stuck on you, back when you two thought nobody noticed. There's more, Wade said, jerking a thumb toward Danny. Kid rode to the telegraph office before fetching me. Got old man Jenkins at the post to send a wire to the railroad bosses, laying out how Brennan and his cronies have been strong-arming folks into selling their land. The railroad company responded this morning. They're withdrawing all business arrangements with your investment group, effective immediately. Brennan went pale. The weight that had been pressing on my chest for months suddenly lifted. As the sheriff and his prisoners rode away, Rose and I stood together surveying the damage. Broken windows, splintered wood, bullet holes. It would take weeks to repair. Hell of a first day of work, I said. Rose laughed. I've had worse. You're insane. Walking into a man's life, offering him everything you own, getting shot at, and still standing here like it's all part of the plan. Maybe it was. She turned to face me. Maybe I spent all those years watching from a distance so that when the moment finally came, I'd know exactly what I wanted. No hesitation. I reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. And what is it you want, Rose Campbell? You. I want you, and this ranch, and a life we build together. I want to stop being the woman who waits and become the woman who acts. The world's not kind, I said quietly, especially not out here. I know, but we can be. She took my hand, pressed it against her cheek. We can be kind to each other. We can build something good out of all this pain, if you're willing. Partners, I said, equal shares. Your name on the deed. We rebuild this house together. Face whatever comes next together. Yes. She rose up on her toes, kissed me softly. Yes to all of it. This time, when I carried her inside, there were no interruptions. The house was a wreck, but the bedroom had escaped the worst of the damage. Sunlight streamed through the one intact window. I laid her down with reverence, taking my time with each button, each layer. She arched into my touch, her body responding with an honesty that took my breath away. I thought about this, she admitted, all those nights, alone. I thought about your hands, your mouth, the way you used to look at me. How did I look at you? Like I was water in the desert, like I was everything you needed to survive. You are. I met her eyes. You always were. What followed was neither quick nor desperate, but something slower, deeper, a claiming that went beyond the physical. We moved together like we'd been doing it for years, our bodies remembering what our minds had tried to forget. When she cried out, it was my name on her lips, and when I followed her over the edge, I buried my face in her neck and held on like she might disappear. Afterward, we lay tangled together, listening to the morning sounds of the ranch waking up around us. We should probably fix those windows, Rose said eventually. Or we could stay here a while longer. If we're going to be partners, I should probably learn how to repair bullet damage. I laughed. You're not like any woman I've ever known. Good, because I'm not trying to be anyone but myself. And myself is someone who's going to stand beside you, work beside you, fight beside you, for as long as you'll have me. I cupped her face in my hands. That's going to be a long time, Rose. Might be forever. Forever sounds about right. In the weeks that followed, we rebuilt together. We sold 20 acres to the railroad at a fair price, on our terms, not Brennan's, and used the funds to strengthen our home. 3 months after Rose's arrival, I rode into town and returned with legal documents, partnership papers, making Rose Campbell an equal owner. Her name in official ink beside mine. That night, I found her in the kitchen and handed her the papers. Rose read them slowly, her fingers trembling. When she looked up, there were tears in her eyes. You did it. You actually did it. She threw her arms around my neck. Thank you for seeing me, for trusting me. You were always more, I murmured. I just didn't fight hard enough for you the first time. I won't make that mistake again. I want to ask you something, Rose said eventually. Anything. Marry me. Not because the town expects it, not because it would make things easier, but because I want to stand up in front of everyone who ever doubted us and claim you as mine. Because partnership is good, but forever is better. I felt the last defensive wall around my heart crack open. You're supposed to let me do the asking. You're supposed to do a lot of things, but we've never been good at following the rules. I kissed her then, deep and thorough, putting 15 years of regret and 3 months of joy and a lifetime of promise into it. Yes, I said simply. Yes to everything. Ooh. The wedding took place 6 weeks later. It wasn't large. Rose had no family left, and I'd never been one for crowds. But the people who mattered were there. Tom Brennan and his associates were notably absent, awaiting trial in the county jail. As the sun set on our wedding day, we rode back to the ranch together, our ranch now, legally and truly. The house stood solid in the twilight, its windows whole and glowing with lamplight. I helped Rose down from her horse, then turned her to face me in the gathering darkness. You know what the funny thing is? Brennan thought bringing you here would be my weakness. Thought a woman would make me desperate enough to sell, to compromise, to break. And? Rose's eyes gleamed in the starlight. He was half right. You did make me desperate. Desperate to be better. Desperate to build something worth protecting. Desperate to prove that what we have is stronger than anything they could throw at us. I kissed her then, soft and sweet, under the emerging stars. Come on, Mrs. Pierce, I said, sweeping her up into my arms. Let's go home. Rose laughed, wrapping her arms around my neck. I'm already home. Have been since the day I rode up to your gate. You want to know what this whole mess taught me? Sometimes the thing you're scared will break you is the only thing worth holding on to. Waiting for the perfect time ain't nothing but fear dressed up fancy. And the gutsiest move you'll ever make is letting someone see you, dust, scars, and all, and betting they'll stick around anyway. Rose taught me that. She rode into my life with $300 and a plan to turn herself from a weapon into a shield. She stood beside me when bullets were flying and held my hand when the world went quiet. So here's what I want you to take away from this, partner. Life's hard. It'll grind you down if you let it. But sometimes, if you're brave enough, if you're stubborn enough, if you're willing to fight for what matters, you get a second chance. You get a woman who rides in on a dusty afternoon with nothing but courage and conviction. You get a partner who will stand in the dark with a loaded gun and never flinch. You get home. If this story meant something to you, if you believe in second chances and the kind of love that makes you brave, hit that like button